King Yao web writer, accidentally wearing it in his own novel. He was almost eaten and wiped clean by the male protagonist of his own pen. To return to the real world, he hanged himself and jumped into the river to kill himself, but always returned to the first day of crossing. The king who learned that the princess jumped into the river, dragging his sick body to visit. He knows the nature of the male protagonist. Immediately choose to close your eyes and pretend to sleep. He will leave Kang Benwin's sealed male protagonist after he changed the manuscript 30 times and gave up on himself. I can't wash my belly with 8 disinfectants. The black man leads his leaf fish, dressed as Su Fengyi, the hapless heroine of the text. There is also a show with the male protagonist. Sadomasochism. At this time, the low pressure that comes with the male protagonist. Let Yi Xiaoyu's whole heart hang there. Unexpectedly, the male protagonist suddenly dismissed all the maids, said it was for fear of disturbing the prince's rest. But Yi Xiaoyu knew in his heart, this old 6 is clearly intentional. Pretend to be a small white flower and fall in front of people. Then completely. Man-eating flowers that don't spit bones. He doesn't want to be alone with this kind of wind. And suddenly a big hand lifted his hair. Did Fengyi marry me make you unhappy? Why do good people want to die? The man's voice was low and feeble. But those cold eyes. But it makes the leaf fish hairy all over. The man who didn't wait for an answer coughed again, and he rendered the jade. It was so frightened that the little fish retreated again and again. No, I'm just hot. I want to take a bath in the river to cool down. But men are obviously unfortunate. And he leaned forward, like a beast about to be slaughtered. I thought the newlyweds were very loving. Yi Xiaoyu was speechless. This old 6 can really pretend. It was obviously the Empress Dowager who forcibly gave the marriage. Where does love come from? Tell me why you have a good day, but you have to jump into the moat from the top of the city. Even make a fuss. It won't be long. The Queen Mother will definitely ask about this. Leafy fish forced into a corner by a man. Brain goes blank. Unexpectedly, the next second, the man turned around and was a fierce customer. Yi Xiaoyu can't complain about you fake sick child. I really don't forget to act all the time. At this time, the corner of the man's mouth raised a strange arc. Then she touched Yi Xiaoyu's head. We can't let the elders worrying. Why don't the princess go to the palace tomorrow to make it clear? Yi Xiaoyu looked at the gradually sliding hand, more and more afraid. He knew he never had a chance to say no, because this old 6 will twist his neck at any time. However, this sadomasochism has only just begun, because the heroine Su Fengyi is in the later plot. It was hardship, body abuse and heart abuse, suffering and not willing to come. Do you have to go through the ending to return to modern times? Yi Xiaoyu's obedience makes the man very satisfied. As you said before, our lifetime. It is an inescapable and immortal fate. Right. Yi Xiaoyu heard the words. Instantly, he thought of the ending of the story. The male protagonist will leave the warehouse in order to stabilize the country for the emperor, designed as a lot of dirty work. Therefore, it has made countless enemies. However, the emperor in the end to buy people's hearts, but let him commit suicide, and Li Kang had expected that his end would be like this. So he begged Princess Su Fengyi, finish him with your own hands, in exchange for him returning to the Su family and getting asylum. Seeing Su Fengyi, I couldn't bear to start. Zhang Li Kong jumped forward while he was not being taken initiative. Seeing the wind like water flows into the heart of Jiang Li Kang, he used his last strength, holding the woman you love tightly in your arms. This life, I don't regret what I did. Only you? I'm sorry for you. And here it is. End of story. He is relieved. He is also Yi Xiaoyu's eyes lit up in an instant. So it is to ask the male protagonist to die from the warehouse. This story can only end. Then you can return to the real world. Leaf fish illusion? Thinking about the beautiful life when you come home. But don't know. I'm surrounded by a dark gaze. When he comes to his senses, the man immediately switch into the appearance of a gentle big boy. The princess sees that you are lost. It must have been a shock after falling into the water. Let's take good care of ourselves. I won't bother you now. Yi Xiaoyu barely squeezed out a smile. You old 6. Take your claws off me, please? Let's go." After confirming that the male protagonist has left, Yi Xiaoyu, who had been tight all the time, breathed a sigh of relief. It's just that he doesn't know. The male protagonist just went out in exchange for his subordinate Yi Min, and let him go to Zhu's house to find out something about the princess from childhood to adulthood, because he always felt the bride who just passed through the door is a little strange. Soon night falls, and Yi Xiaoyu thought in the room all day, how can I kill the male protagonist? In the original book, male and female protagonists, sadomasochism has been deep for N years, to the tragic end. But he is not a lady like Su Fangyi. Don't be foolishly killed by the male protagonist. Yi Xiaoyu gradually smiled. I don't want to endure so many years. Why don't you take advantage of the male lead now and go straight to the end? Unexpectedly, the door was suddenly opened, posing with the cough of the male protagonist. Yi Xiaoyu was in place awkwardly. Prince Wang, why are you here? What nonsense is the princess talking about? Newlywed swallow. Of course he's here to accompany me. The princess is resting together. The stunned Yi Xiaoyu was instantly stunned. I actually forgot about this. Available in the original text, this male protagonist didn't want to pay attention to the female protagonist at first, Su Fang. Even the wedding night, they all went to the study under the pretext of being sick. When he comes to his senses, the male protagonist takes off his coat by himself. Can the princess come and help my aunt change clothes? The man's voice was deep and charming. Let Yi Xiaoyu can't help but be nymphomaniac, as expected of my male protagonist. Look at this alluring countryside. This waist is like a water snake, and the difficult camp ring. You can't help but move your index finger. The pretty face. Samurai Showdown is a small leaf fish. I can't wait to knock each other down directly. Losing his mind, he is completely immersed in the dream of a beautiful man. When I get back, I'll change it to a harem kiss, the kind that writes all kinds of details. The other party's nymphomaniac appearance made Zhang Kong very speechless. He coughed awkwardly and tried to wake them up. Yi Xiaoyu wiped his saliva and responded, "What's wrong?" Zhang Kong deliberately posed as a weak, unable to take care of yourself. He coughs and changes his clothes, and the leaf fish that was born complained in the heart. This old six, I really don't forget to sleep in the cave all the time. But when he got closer, but was attracted by the other party's charming collarbone, a red rime slowly appeared on the girl's face. Am I mind? Stiff nose and thin lips. That handsome face is touching. Yizi subconsciously stretched out his little hand. It shouldn't matter if you don't write the male protagonist yourself, right? The next second, there was a tingling pain in the wrist. The man looked gloomy and frowned. Princess Auntie's belt is here. The man's palms are getting harder. The leaf fish that was in tears from the pain called out, "It hurts so much. My hand is going to break." Men only realize now his own strength and his seriously ill character doesn't seem to match. He quickly withdrew his hand in embarrassment and tried to cover it up with a loud Yi Xiaoyu clutched her aching wrist. Very speechless. This guy is so stingy. You're not even allowed to touch your face. So uncute. But what he didn't expect was, this is a sick and weak male protagonist. Why did you suddenly backhand?